suicide.
The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham.
You're psychotic.
It is a three-syllable word for any thought too big for little minds.
It's time you learn what it means to be a man.
Stay down! If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
If man won't kill God, the devil will do it.
What have you done? Off.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our fourth installment of Scriptly Adapted Entertainment. As you could tell by that clip, we're doing Batman versus Superman today. This is my host, Coyote Howard.
Guys, what's going on?
And we're with one of our frequent guests again, Giancarlo.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
So guys, we're gonna hop right into it.
Whoa, Kate, before you hop right into it, you've seen the movie, you obviously see what side I'm on. I'm obviously a Batman fan.
And I'm Superman.
And obviously he's a Superman fan.
Okay.
But what side are you on? Like,
well, clearly she's on Superman's side because he has powers and he's awesome, he can fly.
Or are you on Batman's side? He has the cool car, the gadgets, the belt, the suit.
Well, not exactly, guys. This is whose side I'm on.
Oh,
that's...
okay. Okay, Wonder Woman.
Well, she's pretty and pretty cool.
She's pretty.
She's like a female Superman.
Yeah.
She's like a female Superman.
All right, Giancarlo, whatever. No, yeah, so pretty much the movie as a whole wasn't too crazy about it, personally. But what we're going to do is we're going to delve into characters and acting first.
Okay.
So, Kyoto, give me your feedback. What do you think about it?
Well, guys, listen. As far as the characters and acting is concerned, some of the characters were good. Some of the acting was okay. For instance, Batman. We have Batman, who was played by Ben Affleck. Mm-hmm. And Ben wasn't that bad.
No.
Ben
I would say
wasn't that
he's
bad.
the biggest surprise of this movie because when he was cast, everyone thought he would do a horrible job.
Right.
Everyone was against it and stuff. And I was actually one of those people too. But to me, he was actually one of the best parts, if not the best parts of the movie.
Yes. And I agree. What do you think?
I agree with that too. I feel like Ben Affleck really fit the physique of big Batman, if you will, cut. But Bruce Wayne wasn't buying it.
Really? Wasn't by I thought he fit a Bruce Wayne. I thought he had the brooding, constantly upset at the world attitude that Bruce Wayne has sometimes. I mean, because he's upset about everything.
This is also a Bruce Wayne that's 20 years older. He's been
20
doing
years
this
older.
for 20 years.
Right.
He's angrier. He's more violent, like compared to Bale's Bruce Wayne, where he's just starting off and he was still playing the Playboy act. This Bruce Wayne does not play the rich Playboy thing. He's done with that. He's just angry, and I feel like he's really taking, the Batman persona has taken over this version of Bruce Wayne, in my opinion.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Now, how about Wonder Woman? Now, we go back to Wonder Woman, but let's speak about Wonder Woman for a second.
Well, I think Wonder
What do you
Woman
think?
was a complete waste in this movie.
I agree.
She was completely forced into the script just to have her, just to set up future movies, which is a reoccurring theme in the film itself, just forcing a lot of things that did not need to be in the story or the plot. And if you pay attention to the story as a whole, she doesn't contribute anything to it.
She doesn't. And if you're not aware of the story or comics or anything, you probably don't even know who she is or where she comes from.
Kate, let me ask you, you don't know much about Wonder Woman, correct? You've never read a comic?
Nope.
I've been reading comics for 20 years, DC Comics, Superman comics, I know all about her, but for you as a general audience member, what did this movie tell you about her?
Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
I'm not even just saying that.
Where
it
does she
absolutely
come
told me
from?
nothing.
Where does she come from? What does she do?
Yeah, what
fair,
planet
though,
is she from? Who is
She's
she?
not
like,
from a planet.
You don't get it?
To play
Right.
the devil's advocate, however, if you're setting up for future movies and if she's destined to maybe have a movie of her own, maybe
But
they
she
didn't
will
want to
be-
give you
she
too
will be
much
next year.
information at first. They wanted to kind of feed it to you in increments, and that's kind of setting it up.
But it was so forced.
It was
It was
I wouldn't
forced,
say.
and that's like I said, devil's advocate, definitely.
She contributed nothing to the movie.
Now, Bruce and Wonder Woman do have a very interesting, I guess, an interesting dialogue moment in the film. It was cool.
Very
it was cool.
little dialogue.
It was very little dialogue, but it was the only thing they had in there. It was cool acting. The acting was decent. I'm not trashing that, but I'm just hopping on what Giancarlo said. There was really no setup to who she was or where she came from or what her motives were.
Yeah.
So
like-
it kind of just left you like, okay, now what? It was cool
But
to see her
physically-
as a fan of comics.
Physically,
And,
she fits the physique quite well. She
Right.
a
looks
little
exactly
too thin
like
for me.
her.
A little
Okay.
too thin. She could have bulked up a little bit more.
A
I know
little bulked up,
She
yeah.
does. She did work out, but that doesn't bother me compared to all the other problems in this movie.
well,
But in just to tie it all together, what did you guys think about Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor? I think
That's
that
the
was,
absolute worst thing in the film. Absolutely.
Jesse
That's a
Eisenberg.
major bone of contention if you guys haven't already been
Jesse
able to
Eisenberg was. So I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to make Lex Luthor this new millennial Apple type
Even that
of guy
wasn't clear
who
in the
owns
film,
a
though. What
company.
did his company do?
It,
You
prob-
don't
it
know.
probably
Right.
made weapons,
Yeah, but-
clothing, shoes. I mean, I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
the
clothing
thing.
with weapons.
And the way he acts, I don't know if anyone's familiar how Lex is in the comics or even other adaptations like cartoons, but he's very serious, diabolical businessman, sometimes
Right.
scientist.
Yes.
He's imposing, intimidating, and this Lex is like, "Hello, boys. Oh, my name's Lex Luthor. I'm like the Riddler, but I'm not."
Yeah,
Like-
it was very confusing.
That's
on
how Jesse
what it
Eisenberg
was.
plays all
In every
his
film.
Yeah, you're
characters.
And everything.
Well,
Like,
he
what were they
wasn't like that
thinking?
in the Social Network, though. His character
But he
wasn't
was like
really
twitchy
like
and
that.
like ADHD-ish,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he was just socially awkward like he is in this movie and in every other movie that he's
But I
in.
think, just to go on a tangent for a second, I think the Social Network was fitting for that because
It
you're
was,
dealing
well, yeah,
with
that was
technology.
fitting for that movie, but this is not
No,
the Social
yeah,
Network.
no,
He's
and I
supposed to
thought-
play Superman's #1 major threat to
Yes.
his life.
Right, and I think it was improperly cast. But Kiana, you had an interesting person of who you thought might be a good fit for that role. Who was it?
So I thought, and I think a lot of people do, that
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston would have been an
Interesting.
awesome
He would have been really great.
choice
Really
to
great.
play Lex Luthor in this film. I mean, he has the look, the attitude. He's also a great actor.
Yeah, he
so
is.
you know he's going to
Brilliant.
portray madman, businessman,
serious.
scientist guy who wants to destroy Superman. A very serious role. You get that he can play that. And I thought he would have been awesome for that.
But you take an interesting point that I was thinking of is you take these adaptations, right? And they're different every time you have a new director and every time you have a new reboot. So maybe Zack Snyder was going for something different. Maybe he wanted to create Lex Luthor in a different light. Because if you think about it, when Heath Ledger was playing the Joker, and yes, the Joker was a dark character, but he made him one of the most darkest. He had the darkest version of him, I think, in all the movies I've ever seen. So I think it really depends on the director and what kind of way they want to take the movie.
Like I said before, I think what they were doing with Jesse was simply to try to make it for today's times
Right.
and show that
It's a
he's a
different
young
turn.
kid. What even made me upset, but they did it at the end, Jesse still had hair for more than half of the film.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
Sorry,
Jesse
guys.
has
Spoiler alert.
hair for the entire
Movie.
and
And-
until the last scene where Jesse gets bald.
Well, they
Where-
just shave it off.
They shave it
was
off.
Dumb.
It wa-
like so he can grow his hair anytime he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the comics or other media, he's bald all the time. He doesn't
Bald all the
shave.
time.
He's just a bald
Interesting.
guy.
So leaving characters and acting aside for a second, what did you guys, Giancarlo, what did you really think about the story and the effects?
This story.
And try to keep, this is a 20-minute show here.
This story was the most convoluted, forced, incoherent story / plot you can possibly find in any movie. They were trying to force so much into it, so much in front of your face, so much down your throats, which they forget the kind of story they were trying to tell because they were just too busy having all these different characters doing all these
Right.
different things for who knows what reasons, because
Right.
there was no real character motivation for everybody except for Bruce Wayne, pretty
Right.
much.
Yeah.
That they were too busy trying to set up future movies that they forgot what they were trying to do, and it was just a mess. There was dream sequences that made no sense unless you read the comics. But even if you read the comics, you're not really sure what's going on. Character motivations that don't make any sense. Let me ask you, why does Lex want to kill Batman? Why does he want to kill Superman?
I don't know.
Can you answer those questions?
I can't answer that.
And especially like you hit an interesting point earlier, someone like me who's not really into the comics very heavily, it was very, very confusing because I felt like when you're doing a movie like this, it's dangerous because you have storylines from two different comics.
Completely
and you're
different
combining
comics.
them.
Absolutely.
And you have to do it in a way where you can get as much information but not overwhelm the audience at the same time.
Now, I will say that, of course, Batman's story, of course, was the best and more coherent out of everything going on. I mean, you had Man of Steel's sequel. You had Justice League prequel and sort of setup. Then you had Wonder Woman's setup.
Right.
Then you had Aquaman's, Flash, Cyborg.
They're all in the movie.
They're all
shoehorned in the movie.
All in the movie.
It's just like...
It just was a lot.
Makes no sense.
It didn't make sense. It was just
It wasn't a part of the plot at all. Not at all.
Just too much.
Well, we'll see if you guys agree with this by checking out this clip. Take a look.
Saves a cat out of a tree. You read a puff piece editorial about an alien who could burn the whole place down.
Most of the world doesn't share your opinion, Mr. Wayne.
Maybe it's Gotham City and me. We just have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
Boys, Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together. How are we?
Lex?
Hi, hello, Lex. It is a pleasure. Ow, wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person. You know the oldest lie in America, Senator? It's that power can be innocent.
You're gonna go to war. That son of a bitch brought the war to us.
So you guys weigh in and let us know what you think. You can check us out on our Facebook page. But Coyote, what do you really think about that scene?
Guys, the fight scene. What you just saw in that clip was 95% of the fight scene. It is very underwhelming. Not too much to it. Some of the stuff was, Batman having, the spoiler, Batman having a gun that had kryptonite bullets or pellets or whatever it was. Cool. But, I mean, it wasn't enough. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be.
The movie is called Batman v Superman. You go into it thinking that they're going to be fighting.
Yes.
There's going to be a big fight sequence.
An epic scene.
The fighting lasts, between Batman and Superman, it lasts about, 10 minutes? 5 to 10 minutes.
Maybe even giving it more time than it was.
There's just no real motivation around it. The spoiler alert, once again, Lex Luthor kidnaps Superman's mom and says, kill Batman or else I kill your mom. And we don't know why he wants Batman dead again. There's no reason for him to do that. And so then he goes to Batman, he says, I gotta fight you, but I need your help. And then Batman wants to kill him because of what happened in Metropolis.
Yeah.
And so he has him almost dead. He almost kills Superman. And the fact that both of their mothers are named Martha is what makes Batman stop trying to kill him. And then 1 minute later, after Batman literally trying to destroy Superman, they're best friends.
Right.
It's so forced.
It's very
like everything
forced.
else in this movie. It's just completely forced.
It's very forced. I was very disappointed by this because nowadays there's no reason to make a superhero movie that we have all the special effects in the world, you have all the source material, and you have all these genius minds behind making these great movies on the Marvel side. But when it comes to this, I was sitting there as a fan. I'm like, oh my God, this is it?
Yeah.
That's it? Everything they showed in the trailer is basically what you've seen.
There are no surprises.
In the movie. There's no surprises.
They ruined the fighting. The Batman has one really cool fight sequence in the movie.
Right.
They have that in the beginning of one trailer. It's 75% of that scene.
Yes.
They ruined Doomsday in the second trailer. They ruined Wonder Woman. Like, you didn't have to show these things.
No. Right.
Nobody knew Doomsday was in the movie until they showed that trailer. We knew Wonder Woman was in the movie, but they should have not seen her in action.
They shouldn't have even shown that either.
They shouldn't have showed her as Wonder Woman in the trailers.
Yeah.
Well, I think overall, honestly, this was the worst 2.5 hours of my entire life.
That's a
complete waste of time. I loved, just throwing it back for a second, loved Christopher Nolan's trilogy and reboot of Batman. And obviously this isn't just Batman, it's Batman and Superman, but
and everybody else.
Honestly,
and everybody starring everybody else.
All the other characters. I really hope that for the series' sake that they either ship up or shape out, because this is going to be an awful trilogy or whatever they're planning on doing if all the movies look like this one.
Well, I gotta say, listen, getting off of topic for a second, the way the movie looked, the way Zack Snyder created the atmosphere, I liked. I'm into the dark,
really
dreary
you like Batman
world.
that shoots people with guns left and right?
Not
you like
necessarily
Superman killing people? Because he kills the guy in the beginning of the movie.
Not what he does with the characters. Not what he does with the characters, but what he does with creating the world, the atmosphere. He sets up the tone of the characters in the atmosphere.
You like how there's never one nice day in the movie.
There's never one nice day.
It's cloudy all the time. It's either cloudy or
raining.
It's nighttime.
Or nighttime.
It's raining. There literally is no nice, sunny, bright day. I'm not asking for a field of lollipops and cotton candy here. I'm looking for a regular, normal day like we have here in the real world.
But that's because,
none of that is there.
But that's not.
Which is what Zach was pretty much going.
But Coyote has a point because he's setting up. It's dark days, right? So you're having two of the world's greatest.
So the weather changes when Batman and Superman fight. Everything has to be gloomy and desaturated. At one point, it looked like Superman was even wearing black at the night scene when he was talking to Lex outside.
Yes. Well, okay.
I think it sets up the atmosphere quite well. And
I think
in the wrong way though. Superman. See, they could have had this great thing. Batman is a dark character, correct?
Yes.
The movie works great for Batman. It doesn't work great for Superman because Superman is a lighter character. Now, if they had a dark character and lighter character conflicting with each other, it would have been it would have really been day versus night, like they said in the movie, which is actually more like night versus night. Superman is so dark and mopey and depressed. In the Man of Steel, he was like, oh, I don't fit in, I'm sad.
It wasn't typical for Superman, I'll give you that.
No, and then in this movie, he's like, oh, I'm sad, worse. I don't know if I'm helping people enough because I'm so sad.
Right.
And it's just so gloomy. And Superman's not like that. He's charismatic. He's a great person. He's very positive. He's a leader. He's been portrayed like that in the comics for 75 years and in other movies and cartoons and TV shows. And all of a sudden now, Zack Snyder got his grimy little hands on him, and he's turning him into this dark character, and it's just not working.
Because they're trying to do what
Something
the Dark
different.
Knight did.
Yes,
they're thinking that formula will work for everything, but it's not. But it's not going to work for everything.
Well, guys, listen, we could sit here for
days
and analyze how Zack Snyder has messed this movie up. But instead, we are going to wrap. So check us out.
Okay, can we do one thing? Can we go around between the three of us and just... Can we find if we like one thing about this?
Apparently, this ending is like the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
Did you find anything likable about this film?
You know what? I will give it this. I did not think that Ben Affleck was as bad a choice as everybody made him out to be.
Yeah,
I wasn't feeling it Batman, Bruce Wayne-wise, but honestly, I did not think that he did as bad a performance as everybody was, critiquing him for before the movie even came out.
Giancarlo.
I liked Batman the best. Cavill looks great as Superman. Unfortunately, he's wasted with his dull acting and dull personality. Not his fault. Zack Snyder's fault.
Right.
I like the beginning of the movie, Bruce Wayne's perspective of the Battle of Metropolis from Man of Steel. That was really great.
Yes.
Which I've noticed he's really good at starting movies, but he's not good at the rest of it.
Yes.
Because Man of Steel, the beginning Krypton scenes were amazing.
Yes.
And that's it. The Doomsday fight was cool to look at. Wonder Woman fighting him, but Superman fighting him. But it was completely meaningless and forced, so it wasn't good. So I give the movie overall a D.
Kate?
By the way.
I give it about a C+.
Ooh. Guys, I liked three things. Ben Affleck, his fight scene in the warehouse that they showed about 75% of it in trailers. And I did not hate the Doomsday fight. I thought it was okay. I thought it was entertaining to see Wonder Woman actually fight. You hear all these things about Wonder Woman, and now she's in battles with these two. It was pretty cool to see that. So those are my three things, but I try not to be harsh, but I got to give it a D. I gave it a D.
Yes. You couldn't have given it a lower grade than me.
Yeah.
No, couldn't have. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for any updates or anything on our Facebook page, social media. As we always say, visit your independent theaters, especially Jacob Burns here in Pleasantville, New York. And stay tuned for our next show coming within the next month. Take care, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you very much.